Hello, my dear young friends, educators, and all those of you who are watching this fantastic series. You're with me, Pickbrain, here at a class apart, the Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz 2021, the second season of this wonderful initiative created for celebrating knowledge, celebrating India by the Padma Seshadri Bal Bhavan group of institutions. It's been a fascinating journey over the last 2 years, and the quarterfinals have been really difficult. If you have watched it, you would know. We're now down to the final 16 of this nation. Some remarkable talent coming in from across the country. And it's really nice to see between last year and this year, a lot of new talent emerging in this quiz, which is fantastic. New faces, new schools, new cities. That's really encouraging, and that is really what the objective of a quiz like this is, to reach more people. Well, time for us to now take you into the semi-final, and to take you through the semi-final, well, it's the lady you only know too well. Her questions are not easy, but she can be very encouraging as a host. A teacher herself, an alumnus of NITK Surathkal, where she was teaching, well, she's a under 40 listed person by Business World, and that's a huge recognition for her growing stature and popularity. A co-host with me at Tata Crucible, she's been at the helm of this quiz since last year, as she does with many other. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to grill all you youngsters through the semi-finals and to identify the top 4 from across our nation, please welcome your host, Miss Rashmi Furtado. Over to you, Rashmi.
Thank you, Pickbrain. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second edition of a class apart Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz. This quiz was conceptualized by Padma Seshadri Group of Institutions in collaboration with TCS ION and Knowledge Tribe. This quiz was created to honor the memory of an icon in education, Mrs. YGP. The quiz is named after her. Most of us who are in the field of education in our country, we are well aware of this name, and we know what a legend she's been in the field of education. Today, we are in the 4th semi-final of this quiz. I have already completed 3 semi-finals and identified the first 3 finalists of this quiz. If you haven't watched those semi-finals, go ahead and watch them. They're very interesting. But for now, let me introduce our semi-finalists to you, then get into the rules of the game. First up, I have Anshul Sharda from Bal Bharati School, Gurgaon. Following Anshul is Aman Manoj from Bhavans Vidya Mandir, Ernakulam. Following Aman is Rishit from TBMS English School, Jamshedpur. And completing our lineup here today is Shlok Chakrabarti from the Heritage School, Kolkata. Well, this is an India quiz, and we have had students taking part from the length and breadth of our country. You will see that as you watch all of our quarterfinals, semi-finals, and when we watch that grand finale. Let's get into the rules of the game. I have 4 rounds of quizzing for these semi-finalists here today. All the questions are on the buzzers. Single attempt per question only. Multiple attempts will not be allowed. Plus 50 and minus 50, the scoring pattern. Only the winner from this semi-final will qualify to the grand finale that's coming up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, in this particular quiz, winning is very important, because only if they win will they make it to the grand finale. Every question will be valid for about 5 seconds. If none of them press the buzzer in those 5 seconds, I will move on to the next question. Rest of the rules have been explained to them, so I will not get into the details. Let's start a class apart Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz semi-final 4, round 1. She is historic. Here we go. Wonderful. What I have for you is a couple of visuals, images, and along with those images, I have corresponding questions. It's up to you. If you think you know the answer just by looking at the visuals, you can go ahead. But that is the risk you take. The corresponding questions that I have may or may not give you extra information. Scoring pattern, like I mentioned, is plus 50, minus 50. Question number 1 on your screen now. Which great place is this? A very well-known... Oh, Shlok, go ahead.
No, I guessed DIF Apsara.
Taking a negative on that is Shlok. The answer I was looking for is the Baba Atomic Research Center. It's actually an iconic structure that we have in our country. I expected one of them to know, probably a difficult question for them. Moving on, the second question. Here we go. This is an important Indian with a prestigious award named after him. Identify him. All right, I'll help you out. He's actually revered, or he's most known for having a lot of research laboratories in our country. He set up a lot of research laboratories in our country. Rishit, go ahead.
Meghnad Saha.
Oh, taking a negative on that is Rishit from Jamshedpur there. The answer I was looking for is Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar. He is also the first chairman of the University Grants Commission, and he's mostly known for setting up multiple research laboratories in our country. Moving on, question number 3 on the screen now. What in history is being built? If you look at this image carefully, it still exists to this day. It's not something that has perished, it still exists. Aman, go ahead.
Ma'am, is it Howrah Bridge?
Taking a plus 50 on that is Aman. Howrah Bridge, the answer I was looking for. If you look at the image carefully, it's one part of the Howrah Bridge that's very visible there. And because of that observation, Aman gets a plus 50. Moving on, question number 4 on your screen now. It's a film called My Dear Kutti Chattan. What first? All right, Aman on the buzzer again.
Ma'am, it is the first 3D film of India. I have watched it.
First 3D movie of India, plus 50. Absolutely right. Plus 50 on that. My Dear Kutti Chattan is the name of the movie. Moving on, the last question of this round on your screen now. From our amazing history, what are these? This is actually an iconic image. Aman on the buzzer again.
Chandbauri Stepwell.
Plus 50 to you. Absolutely right. Stepwell's the answer I was looking for. This is actually an iconic image. Moving on to the second round of this quiz. She is beautiful. Here we go. Well, our semi-finalists are doing very well. Let me tell you where they stand. Rishit and Shlok have taken a negative each. Aman is doing well for himself. He's on 150 points. Anshul as of now is on nil. If you ask me, nil is still a good place to be because he hasn't got negative, so he can directly move into the positive scores. Rishit and Shlok have a little bit of work to do to negate that minus 50 that they've taken and move into the positives. Let's move into the second round of this quiz, a class apart Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz. The first question, or let me first give you an example on your screen right now. You will find multiple images on your screen that will link you to a particular place in our country. You will have to connect all the images. It could be a monument, it could be an art form, it could be anything that relates to a particular place. You'll have to link all of them together, count the number of blocks given at the bottom, and then give me the answer. Remember, the number of blocks given at the bottom of your screen actually indicates the number of letters in the answer. Alright, remember that. Let's move on to the first question of this round on your screens. Here we go. Beautiful gardens there. Name of I can tell you name of a state. Yeah. Aman, go ahead.
Kashmir.
Absolutely right. Kashmir, giving him a plus 50 on this one. Beautiful tulip gardens from Srinagar, if I'm not wrong. He gets a plus 50 on that. Moving on, the next question on your screen now. Rishit, go ahead, Rishit. I did not want to give them a clue on this.
Kochi, Kochi.
Absolutely right. Rishit gets a plus 50 on that. All of these are clues that lead them to Kochi. Moving on to question number 3 on your screens now. Name of a state. I'll help you out. Aman, go ahead. Aman?
Odisha.
Absolutely right. Odisha gives him another plus 50. Aman is doing well for himself. He's given multiple positive and correct answers, and he's been consistent as well. Moving on, the fourth question of this round on your screen now. Well, a quizmaster cannot always give you clues. All right, no one going on this one. Some of the questions sometimes are bound to be unanswered, but I will give you the answer for this one. The answer I was looking for is Indore. Indore would have given one of you a plus 50. Moving on, the last question of this round on your screens now. Huge clues on your screen. Rishit, go ahead.
ASSAM, that leads to Assam.
Plus 50 on that. He's absolutely right. Assam, the answer I was looking for. The rhinoceros on the screen there should have been a huge clue that leads you directly to Assam. Well, he's absolutely right. Let's take a look at the scores and then move on to the next round of the quiz. The scores as of now. Aman leading with 250 points. He's played very well for himself. Rishit is now on plus 50. Shlok is still on minus 50. Anshul yet to score. 2 more rounds of this quiz remaining. Well, let's not forget, this is a class apart Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz semi-final 4 that you have been watching. Moving on to the third round of the quiz on your screen now. Well, in this round, you will again have visuals that will come up on your screen, and I would have the corresponding questions. The scoring pattern remains absolutely the same. Let's go on to the first question. On the screen now. Who is this great Indian? A picture from his youth. Shlok, go ahead.
Hit Prakash Padukone.
Plus 50 on that. Beautiful answer there, Shlok. Prakash Padukone, absolutely right, giving him a plus 50. Moving on to the second question on your screen now. Identify her. Rishit, go ahead.
Indira Gandhi.
Plus 50 on that. Absolutely right. Indira Gandhi gives him that much needed plus 50. Moving on, third question of this round on your screen now. In 1912, in which publication did Rabindranath Tagore publish the national anthem? It was, of course, a poem back then. All right, a tough one for the contestants here today. I will give you the answer, no one going on that one. The answer I was looking for is Tattva Bodhini Patrika. This was actually a journal by the Adi Brahmo Samaj, and if I'm not wrong, Tagore was the editor of that particular journal, and he carried the first two stanzas of our national anthem in this journal. Moving on, question number 4 on your screens now. Who is this? Rishit, go ahead.
Bhupen Hazarika.
Plus 50 on that. He's absolutely right. Bhupen Hazarika giving him a plus 50. Well, Rishit has been doing well. Let's see what happens. Moving on to the 5th question of this round on your screens now. Who is this great Indian? Again, a photograph from his childhood days. Rishit, go ahead.
Ravi Shastri.
Well, you are not way off the answer. The genre is absolutely right, but the answer, the name of the person is wrong. He takes a negative on that one. The answer I was looking for is Anil Kumble. This is a photograph of Anil Kumble from when he was very little and probably very much into cricket back then as well. Let's move on to the 4th round of this quiz. She is a class apart. Here we go. I must tell you where our contestants stand. As of now, Aman is still in the lead with 250 points. Rishit was chasing down Aman. Actually, he was at 150, but then he just took a negative, and that has taken him back to 100. Shlok and Anshul are on nil. The last round of this quiz still has 5 more questions and lot of scores still to gain. I think it is still too soon to say if Rishit takes all the 5 or at least a couple of them right, it's possible that he may win this quiz. If Aman is able to stand his ground and gets a couple of positive scores here, he may win the quiz. Anshul and Shlok also have equal opportunity to win the quiz if one of them decides to play like Dhoni and take all the positive scores in the next couple of questions. In this round, nothing appears on the screen. I will be asking the question, which means that all these questions would be oral. The scoring pattern remains the same, plus 50, minus 50. But this is like the last over. It always matters. Let's see what happens. Question number 1, here we go. At which famous place in India would you find the Great Darbar Hall, Ashoka Hall, and the sprawling Mughal gardens? Rishit, go ahead.
Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Plus 50 on that. Beautiful answer, plus 50. The Mughal gardens is actually a very good clue, and he gets that absolutely right. Moving on to the second question. Which great structure was built at Apollo Bundar for the visit of King George V and Queen Mary? Rishit, go ahead.
Gateway of India.
Plus 50 on that again. Ladies and gentlemen, I had just mentioned in the beginning of this round that if Rishit ends up getting many positive answers in this round, he may actually be a threat to Aman. Well, looks like that's where it's going. Question number 3, here we go. British officers in India played a sport called Poona. How do we know it today? Aman, go ahead.
Badminton.
Plus 50 on that. Badminton giving him a plus 50, a crucial plus 50. I had just mentioned that Rishit may be a threat to Aman, and Aman immediately gets a plus 50. All right, the penultimate question of this quiz. Who referred to the Kumbhalgarh fort in Rajasthan as the work of giants? A great author, All right, no one going on that one. The answer I was looking for is Rudyard Kipling. Rudyard Kipling is the one who referred to the Kumbhalgarh fort as work of giants. The last question of this quiz, here we go. The poem Vande Mataram is from which novel? It's from a novel. Rishit, go ahead.
Anand Math by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee.
Absolutely right. A plus 50 on that to Rishit. Anand Mat, the answer I was looking for. He gets a plus 50 on that. But let's see if that makes any difference to the scores that we have, to the results. All right. You're watching a class apart Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz 2021. This quiz is brought to you by Padma Seshadri Group of Institutions in collaboration with TCS ION and Knowledge Tribe. The final tally that we have for this semi-final here today. Aman has won the quiz with 300 points. He's been very consistent with his game, and I think that is what has stood by him. With 300 points, Aman wins the quiz and he makes it to that big finale that's coming up. Rishit tried his best to be a threat to Aman, but because he could not get the last two questions right, he only got one right. He is now at 250 points. There was a huge chance for Rishit also to be at 300 points and push for a tiebreaker, but unfortunately, he couldn't do that here today. Aman, congratulations to you. You make it to the grand finale that's coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, we have identified the 4 finalists for the grand finale of a class apart Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz 2021. Let me tell you this. I have quizzed with all of these children for the past couple of days, and it has been very, very interesting for me. Some of the answers that they have given were very, very difficult, and they were still able to give me the answer. This is an indication that that big finale that's coming up is going to be very, very grueling. And let me tell you, we are going to be prepared with some really good questions for these finalists. You don't go anywhere. Like I said, the big finale is coming up. Very interesting questions that will come up for you. I'm pretty sure all these kids are going to be well prepared for the quiz. I will see all of you at the grand finale of Mrs. YGP Memorial Quiz, a class apart. See you there.